And welcome back to the Average White Guys. My name is Alex Haynes, one of the owners of A Squared, and I am here with the one and only. He's actually here in real, and you may actually think he's not real, which actually goes to what we're talking about. He is not a myth, even though legends are made about this man. He is real and in person. I'm lucky enough to be in this room. That's right, with the man, the legend, the myth, in the flesh. Justin Scouten, LLW.
Thank you. This is Justin with LLW Properties, Community Real Estate Services, and thank you always for the warm welcome. Always makes me feel good.
I'm so glad to be here with you. And tonight, do you hear that? Do you hear? Do you feel it? The whispers? What are we talking about tonight?
We are talking about unidentified flying objects.
And many other random things. We thought it would be fun to talk about the fact that might be UFOs, aliens, and other creatures and beings out there.
Well, at least that's what our president's telling us now, correct?
Yeah, more than one, actually. Yeah. More than just the crazy Republican. Some people call him crazy. Some people like him. I don't care where you're on the spectrum, but anyone who says, hey, there's real UFOs out there, because the previous president, Obama, let it slip on a podcast that, yeah, there are UFOs out there, and there are reports, and there's things that are not shared with the people.
And what we thought was funny about this too is this comes out, and for years everybody's the X-Files, and everybody's talking about how the government's hiding it. What is it? The Area 51?
51, yeah.
51, yes.
Or the real one, which is 52, but that's a whole other, if you know, you know.
And so how they're hiding it for so many years, right? And everything like that. And then once it comes out, everybody's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, with everything going on in the world, it didn't even move the needle. Like, it was said, it had like 30 seconds of people like, yeah, that makes sense right about now. Could they just take us off? Like, if you are listening to this podcast, as long as you're not living under a rock, you're probably aware that the world's upside down right now.
Yeah, we got wars going in Iran. We have cartel wars in Mexico, and
yeah, it's been nuts. For the first time in a long time, a submarine sunk a battleship. Like, it's been just it's crazy. The world is upside down. And we thought it would be fun not to focus on any of that, but have a conversation about the supernatural and beliefs around the world and fun stories and our experiences, if we had any, or just our fun thoughts on it.
Because you have a belief in Christianity, correct?
Yeah, I actually happen to be Christian. Yeah.
I was baptized and raised Catholic.
But you do practice still, or
I do not. No.
Okay, so
I was, and then when I was in junior high to past high school a little ways, I was in a Presbyterian church, went to church camps. So I have a lot of
I went to a Presbyterian church for a while. It didn't go well.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it's just different things in life got me away from that.
Okay.
And so, yeah. So like I said, we can come together still and have the different beliefs and have this conversation, and there's no problem with it.
And you've known me for quite a while now. I feel like it feels like forever almost, but I know it's been a couple of years. Have I ever given you any cause to think I preach or push my religion on anybody?
No, not at all.
Right. So I want to make that clear. And I also want to make it clear, and this is going to sound crazy, I actually hate religion. I believe in relationship. I don't like rules. Go figure. I believe, and I actually read like the scriptures, and I try to follow Jesus, which he said, love everybody. Like, act like Jesus would act, and he just loved on everybody. And where I would say the difference is love doesn't mean agreement. It means grace and just being kind to people. Right.
Yeah. Well, and like with my kids have never, I think they've been to church once or twice, maybe one or two times for a funeral and one for a baptism. And that was about it. But I still tell them, I'm like, it's great to go experience it. If you want, have your own beliefs. Don't just go by what I say, anything like that. Read the Bible. It's great information, great stories, great.
And it's a great way to live. Yes. Like, whether or not you agree necessarily with everything in it, it's got a nice set of rules about ethics. Like, it's a great tool for ethics.
Perfect. Yeah. But I mean, we're here more talking about the supernatural now at this point, but some of this is based off of, like, I think we were also talking the burning bush.
Yeah. You missed part of this conversation coming in. We were off camera talking before we started. What you said something.
There's no true fact that took place of a burning bush.
There's no way to prove it. None of us were there.
Going off of belief,
right,
to a point. But then you brought up the different negative.
What my producer brought something up. So me and my business partner, we both have pretty set beliefs. He actually did a lot of study. He's a knowledge type, so he researches the heck out of things. So he actually brought up the fact that location has some crazy electromagnetic variations that aren't really found anywhere else in the world, and there's just a lot of odd things that people can point to and go, well, this is really unique. This could have happened, which when you're looking at trying to prove something that happened in the past, it's a little bit different than like now, hey, let me grab my phone and here I have a video of it. And even with AI, who knows
It can
if
be a
that's
deep
true.
fake anyways.
Right, deep fake anyway. It's like we put together layers and layers of proof to go, this makes sense based on eyewitnesses, multiple accounts, the science behind it. Can we see anything? Was there anything left there? Does the place exist? Is it all an allegory? Things like that. So he was bringing up that there are some the mountain did exist. They found it. That specific place had some really crazy electromagnetic fields and some other things that are really hard to explain. That's not found anywhere else. So,
well, and then what we can see from the telescopes now, what was the latest?
Yeah. So, they actually look back in time based on like speed of light. So they've mentioned that there's actually a missing day. A day, there's like 2 times in their field that they're missing time. Well, there's a part in the Bible, there's 2 times in the Bible, it talks about the sun stood still. And if you add up the hours, it's actually 1 full day. And someone went, this adds up. We can't say it's for sure, but we also can't say it's not.
Which is interesting because it's kind of where science and religion then comes into play on that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I bring that up because of the fact of there's just so much out there in the world to not believe in some kind of other higher being, superpower, different gods.
Oh yeah.
And just maybe the fairies or what we joke about, the things that go bump in the night that I think that's why people don't want to accept it sometimes as well. It's scary.
So I've studied 5 or 6 different religions, like, cause I was trying to figure out what I believed. And I always grew up with my family going, challenge it and make it real for yourself. So I actually studied and researched a bunch of other religions and other things before I was sure about what I wanted to believe. But I've also, not getting too crazy, but I've seen and dealt with some stuff that goes bump in the night. That experientially I can't explain well without sounding crazy, but I've seen some crazy stuff and dealt with some crazy stuff. And I go, well, if I wanted to explain it, this is one way I could explain it. And then that led me to research a bunch of things, but I say in a lot of these stories that we have, these things that go bump in the night, vampires, werewolves, there's a grain of truth of where these stories came from. Like the vampire thing came from because, before people understood how bodies decomposed, they weren't stored properly. So they would actually bloat and they would actually burst open the coffins and they weren't buried deep enough. So it looked like they would be coming out of the grave, or someone would they'd be trying to it looked really weird and they were trying to explain that. Like there's some reasons beyond that. And then of course, people who've drunk blood actually had weird effects that's actually akin to vampirism.
Which is part of pagan rituals and things like that.
Pagan rituals, but also the sunlight hurts their eyes and little things like that.
Isn't it a little bit of fun fact on why we're buried 6 feet under? The term is because of the bloating, right? It's the amount of pressure then on the dirt that won't allow it to come back up.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about that.
So I want to hear one of your stories. Maybe we can, I know it may be a long story, but maybe we can condense it. Yeah. But then I always remember my family was, my dad's side. He's one of 15 brothers and sisters, a very large Catholic family. Mm-hmm. And, went to Catholic ceremonies and churches and funerals and weddings, and they're, like 2.5 hours long. But one of the things that I remember that my dad said distinctly when my grandfather was passing away, 3 of my aunts were in the room with him. They felt him passing. Mm-hmm. And at that point, they all 3 felt such a huge spirit in there that they believed that there was a spirit, a ghost of not even him, just almost like a saint coming and relieving him. Yeah. And they believe it. And I'm not going to deny that with them. I mean, I'm sure there was such emotions going on there. So, I mean, people feel those things, and it's just hard to believe it, I think, is the hard part.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out which story to tell because they're all crazy. So this is one I tell this story because it was told to me. So this is one of the few times where I doubted something happening, and I'm telling the story, and I preface the story going, I tell the story not because I remember it, but because I don't remember. And so many people said this is what happened. So a while back, I died and came back. I was doing some mission stuff, and I stepped in some fire ants, and they went to town on me. And come to find out, I'm pretty allergic, like very allergic to fire ants, and I had an anaphylactic shock, and I blew up to like 3 times my size, and I wasn't a small guy back then. They couldn't find I was so puffy, they could not get a pulse because that's how much I blew up. They were 3 or 4 times hitting me with EpiPens and was doing nothing. So they got me in a hospital and they took me. On the way to the hospital. Okay, so from here on out, I don't remember anything for like the next 2.5 weeks. So I am telling a story that was told to me. And then I'm going to tell you what happened later and why now I believe it. Okay, so I'm very careful because someone's going to go, well, you don't remember, so it doesn't matter. So I get rushed to the hospital. Apparently I flatline. I die. Then I come back. Then I flatline. And I come back. This happens like 3 or 4 times. By the 4th time, I flatline and I don't come back. And they call it. I was told they called, like it was that long. I called it and the sirens went off and they were now driving me to deliver my dead body. Apparently, many, many minutes later, all of a sudden I breathe, I sit up and I look at somebody and I start talking to him like I know this guy, and I tell him what's going on in his life, and I tell him his name, and I start talking about his family and what he's dealing with, and the guy is freaking out. I then pass out again. I flatline again, and then I come back. At this point, they're like, we're done. We're just going to get in there. They get me there. The ambulance drivers push me out, and they're like, we don't know who this kid is. We never picking him up again. They're freaking out. So the doctors are like, what's happening? They realize what I'm in Netflix. I'm alive again. I haven't died any more than the 5 or 6 times. They're like, we called it, but he came back to life. They're like, what do you mean? Like they tell the story and they're like, okay. So they put me in a room and they like hooked me up to a big old bag of Benadryl basically. And they watch me because they're like, there's nothing else we can do. We're not sure he's going to make it. He's already technically died and we're not sure he's going to, because it wasn't good. I wasn't doing well. It was a hard process to heal. They call my family, the person who was in charge, because we're in a mission trip. They tell my mom, and my mom's like, oh, okay. I hear this later. I literally call my mom up.
She's like, no, I'm not feeling that you're dead or something like that.
She said she had this weird sense of peace and it was going to be fine. They literally told her, your son has died and it's come back. We're not sure he's going to make it through the night. She's like, oh, okay. Thanks for letting us know. And she like calmly hangs up and she just went on with the rest of her day. Like it was nothing. I'm like, thank you, Mom. A little bit of concern would have been nice. But she's like, I had this weird peace. It was all going to be okay. I'm like, that's nice. That's great.
Glad you did.
I'm over here dying. Apparently what happened, this I'm getting told, what happened in the ambulance happened to 2 of the nurses. Apparently nursing staff then refused to serve my room because the nurses revolted, because it's weird when someone like wakes up in the middle, looks at you and starts reading your mail.
A little bit.
It's very creepy. And I'm like, like I said, I don't remember this. This is what I'm being told. I finally get let go. And apparently the guy who, the missions leader was told, hey, he's going to go home. Here are the things to make him better. He's also blacklisted. He's never allowed to come back to this hospital. They're like, well, what happened? And they like, look, we don't know who this kid is, but he freaked out our staff. And we're not sure if this is a weird game or like what's going on, but we'd rather not see him here again.
Was it a religion thing to them, or was it more
100%.
of like?
So we were in Texas, which is one of the most very religious Bible Belt things, but they were like, we don't know what's going on. So they give me some drugs, and I go home. And I do remember going, I'm very fuzzy. I do remember going back, and I remember bits and pieces in the next couple days. So they give me some really powerful stuff. And I'm told later that stuff should never have been mixed. It was some pretty heavy duty stuff. So I was out for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, like just out of it. Like people are dropping off food and making sure I was alive. During that time, some weird things happened. More weird. At one point, someone tried to come in to give me food because we were staying there. And they said they walked in and they said, I don't know how to say this, but are you okay? Because this is afterwards. They asked me, are you okay? I'm like, why? I try to give you food and I'm pretty sure death was there standing over you. I was like, what do you mean death was over me? There was a being that came out from the shadows and asked me who I was. And I was terrified. And I thought I was going to die. Was he trying to take me? No. He looked like he was protecting you.
Hey, I would take that at this point.
And I thought this kid was crazy. And I didn't think of anything of it. And then I had two more people go, hey, are you okay? They checked me after. I was like, yeah, why? We tried to get into your room and someone was standing in front of it because they said you were holding counsel. Like, dude, I was out of it. I'm not doing anything. Yeah, someone walked in your room and they were glowing beings and you were sitting next to them talking to them. I said, what shrooms were they on?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't believe any of this. I'm like, this is all crazy. There's no way this happened. Once again, I don't remember any of this. I remember like waking up, taking a couple of pills, blacking out, getting dragged to like
places. So this is what people told you.
This is what people are telling me. Yeah. So at one point, like they said, hey, he can't just be in his room. Let's make sure he goes to the cafeteria, gets food. And I had two guys, like this big, strong guy. His name was Bryce, a great guy. He was the strongest stuff, and I was not small. So he put me on his shoulder and he dragged me. I think my feet were dragging on the floor, on the ground, up the hill to the cafeteria. And at some point we're there and I just look up and I go, oh, those guys are really big. Huh. He's like, what the hell are you looking at? Oh, good things and I say, he claims, this is what I said. Good things that his angels are protecting us because the things in the woods, man, none of us want to tangle with them. Those shadows, they're creepy. And he looks at me and he's like, almost drops me. He's like, what the hell, man? I'm like, you don't see the shadows? He's like, nobody sees the shadows. You're crazy. I don't know what those drugs are, but you should probably get off of them. And then once again, I didn't think of anything. I don't remember it. This is what I'm being told afterwards. There's like 3 or 4 of these instances where people have said, hey, there was a dark entity in your room, looked like it was protecting you. You were seeing things. After all this, I kind of chalked it, even though I dealt with things, I didn't believe any of them. I thought this was a very elaborate prank because someone like super popular at the time. And so I didn't believe any of them. And I think actually my friend at the time, who's now my business partner, he kept quiet, but he put a lot of things together and he's like, well, you may not want to write it all off because there's some weird things that happened. You do realize you died. I was like, no, I didn't. He's like, you died and you came back multiple times. There's a record of this. This is not made up. I'm like, okay, baby. So I don't think of it. This is 2 weeks of my life. About a year later, quite literally a year later, I'm working with a different group of people. I'm doing my film and television thing. It's 3:00 in the morning. I've been up for 48 hours, so hallucinations could happen. I'm pretty tired. I'm working on a project, editing by myself in a room, working on multiple projects.
Was this the one time you told me you took the energy pills too?
No.
That was a different. That was a different hallucination.
That was a different. Do not take legal speed. Let's just that's a whole nother conversation. So out of the corner, this is the first time I'm going to say I met Death officially, but Death came out of the corner and said, "Hi, how are you feeling?" And I almost fell on my chair. I was like, "Are you who I think?" He was like, "Yes." I'm like, "Are we good?" He's like, "Well, we're friends. I'm checking in on you." I'm like, "I'm good. Thank you. How are we friends?" He goes, "Oh, you don't remember. That's okay." And then he walks through the wall and he's gone. And I'm like, okay, maybe they weren't lying to me. That's my really crazy experience. Now, as things have gone on in life, it's become more apparent that it probably wasn't all made up. And there's some truth to this because I've seen some other crazy things. I've seen like a 10-year-old girl lift up a 35-year-old man and throw him across the room. And it took 4 or 5 people to restrain her. Like I've seen some crazy things and what people might call possessions. And I've seen like entities and I'm like, okay.
Well, what they talk about the mom's strength sometimes where you can.
Yeah. But I also believe in science. Like I'm a big belief that a lot of this is we believe and we create things through our belief. Like I'm a big, like positive belief and faith is will affect things, right? So I don't try to chalk everything up to woo woo and like supernatural, but that was one of the stories since we're sharing it. I tell everybody this: look, never base anything on an experience, because anyone can have the same experience and come out with a totally different story, right? We could both see this thing levitate off the ground, and one of us will come back with a scientific explanation. Another person will call it a ghost. Never base your values off an experience, based on off of fact and like research and like understanding, yada yada yada. One person's going to call it a miracle, another person's going to call it science. I will say,
what is it? The picture of Jesus on a loaf of bread?
Yeah. You want to see an image. Yeah. I will say one of the coolest things I've seen is a foot grow back. So that was a hard one to like explain. I saw like someone's like leg extend like by a couple inches, and I was like, what did I just see? That cannot have seen that. Did that person's foot just grow back? Nah, it was fine before. Maybe I'm like, my brain didn't like. I just,
I mean, I had to admit,
I'm like, what
hearing it, I'm just kind of going, there's no way.
No, exactly. And me saying it, I'm still going, I don't like I'm not foolish enough to go, for sure, this is what I saw. I am smart enough to go, did I see what I thought I saw? And how? Like, there's just no way. Maybe I missed, like, maybe my brain was playing trick. Like, but even being there, I'm just like, I'm in disbelief.
But stories get exaggerated.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes too. And I think that's where some of these come from.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, we joke about this because we had somebody in the BNI group that we're in that was selling a product.
Yeah.
And at one point they said, oh, there was it happened a while ago with this young girl was taking this product and she had cancer and it got cured.
Yeah. I hate
and that. So this is why, you should be taking this product. And I'm kind of like, well, if that was the case, it'd be selling a lot more than what you're doing here in BNI, Well,
and then, I hate, and I'd love to talk about that. Like, we've had experiences, and I do want to touch on this. Let me be very clear to the people listening to this podcast and watching us. I hate people who peddle lies as hope when they don't know the stuff they're talking about. I'm not trying to swear here. They don't know what they're trying to talk about. I am egregiously hate you when you peddle false hope to try to be kind, because it's a lie and it hurts people. Do not tell someone they're going to be healed because God said so. Don't push a product that's going to supposedly cure cancer. You are the scum of the earth, and I hope you burn in hell.
How do you really feel?
Let me be very clear about this, because we've had people who are quote unquote, I heard from God, someone's going to be better, and we knew better. And look, I wish everyone got magically healed, or there was a healer come through and heal everybody. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but in most cases it won't. And I hate people who peddle lies to make themselves feel important and good. And I cannot express the depths of hate and despise I have for them.
But
there's not words for that.
Let's turn this into a positive thing right now.
Yeah.
I think it's where the power of positive thinking comes in.
100%.
I mean, mantras help and meditation helps. All those type of things help.
100%.
And I think that's where people over exaggerate it and take it into the extreme.
I'm not saying don't be positive for somebody. I think that's very helpful. I think people coming together and praying or saying, hey, we have good thoughts for you, can be the difference. We've seen that positive reinforcement could be the difference between someone having an illness or not.
Because we're talking about supernatural stuff and saying that it does exist. If you believe that, I believe there are things out there that we can't explain.
There's some things you just can't explain.
And so that's where I would think that, coming together as, say, let's a congregation as a church, you put enough maybe power into something, it can give that power a positive effect.
Well, let's talk about
those type of things.
Let's talk about from not a supernatural, but something that's very normal. And we just experienced this. We just had one of the biggest things ever called the Super Bowl. You got millions of fans around the world believing, chanting, putting energy into the world for their team, believing in that team, hoping for that team. Mm-hmm. People said, if you ever gone to one of these events, you can feel it in the air. You can feel there's an energy that only happens when you have people congregate and put that like life energy or electricity out there. Like, there's science behind this when it comes to people coming together, and our life force and our electricity and bioelectricity like can have an effect on the world.
And so I'm just trying to analyze what you said about why the hatred is there, is the fact of that's one thing to actually have the power of the positive thinking and everything like that, but trying to give people false hope.
Yeah.
And
Or
where they're saying pay me this money and I will heal you.
Yep.
Those type of things is where
I hate that, and I hate when people make a statement that has no truth behind it. Their hope is what they're hoping for, but they claim it as a truth. Oh, I hope you get better is different than you will get better.
Yes.
And then claim some being or God told you that.
Well,
that's what I hate.
What comes to mind is if you watch the show The Mentalist, when he was younger, the dad tried to trick at the circus and those type of things. Those are the things where, yes, there should be no place on this earth for doing things like that.
I have a place. And
if you believe in hell, it's right there. Yeah.
Right there. Let me tell you, there's a marsh 10 feet deep. Please don't look, please.
So I guess we want to know, some of the comments are, what do you believe in as far as supernaturals?
Have you had experience?
I know we
have you seen a ghost? What about you? We talked about your Catholic upbringing, and you've talked about your family experiencing a being, but have you ever experienced something that you couldn't explain?
No. And that's why I say it's hard.
Not hanging around with me, Lon.
Right? And I think majority of us don't. And I think the other problem is, though, too, I think most people, even if they experienced it, that was brave of you to say what you said, I think. Because of the fact of, yes, most people are going to go, this guy's just full of crap.
Yeah. 100%.
And so it's hard to say because it's not in our realm of belief. And it is called a supernatural, meaning it shouldn't even be there. So people don't want to think that there could be that vampire, that werewolf.
Sure.
And I know that's more of an extreme there.
Yeah.
But in that aspect of not having, people like science. Even with religion, I think people like science because it's in front of you and you can feel this table, you can taste something, you can drink something. So it's real.
We like control. We like to know that we are in control of our own destinies. Is not something out there that is beyond our understanding. End of story. Right.
No, to be honest, I had a friend, you knew him as well. He passed away a couple of years ago. His name was Steve Colling. And he told us a couple stories. Man, he was a great storyteller. And he told us a couple of these stories of the supernatural. I was like, you know what? He told it so well. I'm like, I actually believed it too. So, but I have never personally experienced it. But it's one of them, a couple of them were scary for him. So I was like, I'm glad I actually didn't, because I don't want to feel that presence of somebody behind me too. Yeah. So I'm happy.
There's definitely some, and the reason I tell the story I told, because that is the safest story for me to tell in this area. It doesn't mean I don't have other stories, and I'm not mostly comfortable. I tell people, like, don't chase after things you don't understand. Once you know, then you're stuck knowing. Like there's
that too.
There's sometimes it's better not to know. Don't chase after things you don't like. Once your eyes are open to some of these things, it can be daunting. Like I have seen and heard things that I don't ever want to see or hear, and I'm like, oh no, crap. Nah,
you know, it was fun to watch. We're on, I think, the 13th or 14th season of Supernatural.
Oh, it's a great show.
Great show, yes. And I didn't want to watch it at first because I watched the first 2 or 3, and I don't like scary movies at all. And once you can get past actually the first season, it's not, I mean, there's a couple of episodes where it's still like monsters and ghouls and things like that. But for the most part, it was just fun how they bring in so much of it. And it actually, even though I know it's a show, I know it's fake, how they brought in the gods, the angels and the demons, everything, it just kind of makes you go, is that out there?
Is it out there? Well, and I think to wrap us to the beginning, like UFOs, things that aren't in our normal realm of everyday living, or extraterrestrial, or aliens, or non-human entities, as I think the word that the government used, which made me ask a whole bunch of other questions, like, why are you using those words?
Yeah.
And knowing science and knowing really weird things like fringe science, like there are multiverses, like multiverse is a thing. And that there are multiple versions of reality, and there's more than 4 dimensions, and like the science behind some of this is crazy. And so once you start unraveling the mysteries in the universe, things become more likely than less likely. Yeah. It's a crazy world out there. And like you said, what do you believe? It's in our comments. We'd love to know. What do you believe? Do you believe there are ghosts and aliens and vampires and witches and wizards and Harry Potter is real? I'm still waiting for my letter. Like what do you believe?
The only thing that I know we were trying to close this up, so I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry
I love the fact that we're going back into this.
But it is, you know what I think got me always on that of where science is so related to it, but also there is just so much outside of science is the butterfly effect.
Oh, yeah.
And not even in like the movie with Ashton Kutcher. I'm talking like I go back to Jurassic Park where it first became a phenomenon of bringing that up, where the butterfly flaps his wings in Indonesia and it causes a storm on the Pacific coast, those type of things. And the fact that a butterfly can flap its wings and make currents go and change how things in history play out, again, makes me believe there are so many things in this world that can change, and energy, and that we just can't explain, that you can't be closed to those type of items.
Yeah, though the great thing about science is more often than not, as we understand what our world is, science starts proving some of these things, not disproving them, or gives us an explanation to that crazy, like the butterfly effect. Like in the past, we would have called that magic, right? We would call it, omen. Well, reading omens and reading I guess the change in the world was a thing. It was like weather. Like understanding what omen was trying to predict the weather. Now we have satellites that do that. Like, and we track it. Before it was like you felt it in your bones or someone tasted it on the wind. Like as we've advanced in technology, as we've kind of removed the veil and started explaining some of this, we call it science now. But back then, look in the Middle Ages. Like healing was called witch. You gave someone herbs, they got better. You're a witch, burn.
Yeah, right.
It's like, no, this is apothecary. It's just like healthy living. Put down the Big Mac.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had that in the Middle Ages, but
no, not quite.
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's where I think
the cell phone pops is a bunch of paintings from somebody. So who knows?
Well, maybe there's time travel.
Maybe
they went back, and that's where some of this came from.
UFOs come from.
Yeah. Maybe that's the unidentified flying objects, right? Yes.
Yeah. Someone is trying not to go back to the rental. They don't want to get the rental back. They had to gas it up. They're trying to find a place to get it to that 50% mark.
I'd rather go back and buy stocks in Google and Apple instead of the rental car. But yes,
well, maybe they know something we know. Okay. They're like, no.
Yes, I definitely believe there are higher powers. There's entities. There's supernatural items out there that make us, that we need to think of different things.
Yeah, and man, I just to end on a really positive note, I said this earlier, I believe in relationship, not religion. I believe that what you believe should affect you in being a better person. If you believe in something that's causing you to hate, might be praying to the wrong thing, right? Or you might not actually be listening to the actual thing the person taught, right?
Well, bringing relationships into it. Look who you are in relationships with, your friends, your family, your coworkers. And are you making the right choices? Yeah. Because that's what's going to determine whether or not.
You mean I should have a relationship with the corner drug dealer?
No, probably not.
Not healthy?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay. Sorry, boss.
Yeah.
He said I shouldn't give you any more money. No,
boss.
Sorry. I gotta stop selling crystal meth.
So that's what I'd be looking for, is just if you are around the people that are bringing positive effects to you, it's going to bring
100%.
More positive effects in your life.
We love quoting what Alex Hermosi, right? You are the, well, someone else said this, but he said this, well, you're the 5 people you hang out with. You're a combination, right? I'm being told to stop hitting the table. But you are a combination of the 5 people you hang out with. They're going to influence you. They're going to help make you decisions. You are looking at your friends and family, and they're going to help you make choices. And you can either have people who push you or hold you back, or who expect you to be positive and are going to put them in your life. Like
maybe that'll be your supernatural.
That could be your supernatural. Oh yeah. Anyway, we'd love to know from our audience. Blow up the comment. This is a great time to blow up that comment, because I'd love to see wars, what people believe in or don't believe in. Maybe I'm the only one who's had crazy experiences, but if you did have a weird experience, I'd love to know. Don't leave me hanging. Justin would like to know too. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Of course, hit that like button. Share this with a friend, because this is one of our craziest out there topics we've ever talked about, right? I'm going to say it's one of our craziest ones.
A little bit. We talked about the Utopia.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Yes.
You should go back and watch that. And until next time, we are
the Average White Guys.